I was doing K-Side Press, and I'm here with NFL legend and co-owner of Lights Out Extreme Fighting, Shawne Merriman. How are you, Sean?
I'm doing well, my man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So before we even talk about this next event, how did it feel to be back watching fights live at a LXF 5?
Man, it's crazy because the last fight we had LXF5, I was nervous. Just having the jitters of coming back, and we also was live for the first time on Fubo Sports. So whenever you having live events and stuff, you always a little nervous, especially with starting out with a new partner like that. But just have people around again. I mean, it was just like, damn, okay, we're back. And it was kind of one of those, I remember sitting over there at one of our VIP tables, just sitting around and taking it all in, like, oh, we're back. All right, good, we're back.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I know that you were very excited and just pumped for fighting to be back.
No, absolutely, because the fortunate part I guess about being around this sport for so long is I get a chance to train around a lot of these guys during the when they're in training camps, gyms from Las Vegas all the way down to California, Arizona, Hawaii. I'm planning on going out and training with some guys in Florida. So I'm seeing these guys work during the whole pandemic, which is tough because there's no near end in sight, and you still have to go in every day, and it's not easy. So to get a chance to be back going again and getting out of what we just came out of, um, was is probably one of the best feelings, man. I really had to sit. I was sitting down at the VIP table we had there, one of our sponsors, and talking to him, and looking around. I said, "Man, this is awesome. We're back full capacity."
That's awesome to hear, man. So you kind of talked about it, but Fubo Sports, how did that come together?
I was talking to football sports for about a year before everything happened, or close to it, and I just knew that was home. Like with football, and the team over there, they're very hungry in acquiring content. If they want something, they're going after it. The CEO there, David, um, he is. They're just awesome to work with, man, because it's a lot of like-minded people that want to go get things done, and they're fast growing. The subscriptions are flying up, and we have more and more coming. Our last fight had 209,000 viewers for our last for LXF5. And so when you're putting up those kind of numbers and becoming, their top 3 or 4 most programmed watch in Lights Out Extreme Fighting, it just shows me the want for, not only for Lights Out Extreme Fighting, but just the sport of MMA in general.
100%, 100%. And then also with LXF5, was there anyone that really stood out to you on that card?
Yeah, we had Mr. Gonzalez, Ghost Pepper, but he went to go have that fight in the UFC. But we know some of these guys. They've been around, and we like for them to have an opportunity to go and fight on the big stage, right? Um, we have the best up and coming talent in all the sport. I mean, we do, and it's showing you week in and week out of the other leagues poaching our guys, but we're excited where we are because we know we have we grow the right talent. The fans come out, and just if you come to one of our shows, the energy in there is just next level, and it's going to be interesting here to see because we got some things brewing with football that is going to make it very interactive, and that's the part I can't wait on.
Awesome. Well, you kind of alluded to like my next kind of question. So Eric Gonzalez was in the main event, and he just got the call up to the UFC. One, were you happy to see that? And then also, do you believe that Lights Out Extreme Fighting could be a launching pad for fighters to showcase their skill and get the call from the UFC, Bellator, or the PFL?
Well, we're already that, but like I said, you would like to retain some of your best guys. But we understand. We understand where everything is. I mean, we're not no fools over here. But um, at the rate we're growing at, and just the eyeballs and visibility we have, we're going to be making some moves here soon.
Awesome. That's awesome to hear. LXF6 is back October 30th. with 3 title fights. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, man, I'm excited about it because, as you know, there's so many fighters and so many, to try to get everybody fights, and I think we have 11 or 12 fights that night, and that's still not even enough, right? Because you have so many guys that need action, and so to have 3 title fights in one night, and our undercard is crazy alone. I mean, I'm from start to finish, man. It's going to be hard for me to work and stuff while I'm there. I'm like, they got about 4 fights on here that I'm going to be, put myself in fan mode and say, man, I can't wait to see these guys duke it out. But definitely the Albert Morales fight and Henry, that's the one that I'm waiting on, because I don't think that goes all the way. I mean, those guys are going to come out swinging.
Yeah, man, that fight is ridiculous. It's fun. I guess what was the thought process of putting those guys in the main event?
Well, George, my partner, he does the matchmaking, but getting a chance to see Albert Morales, who's our current LXF champion right now, and watching him work. He works out over there at Black House, and so I'll pop in a couple of days and I'll check on see guys, and then I'll train myself a little bit, obviously, to keep this old football body in shape. But just seeing him work and knowing that Henry's, he's one of the best guys out there. That's kind of hasn't really hit that mainstream yet. So they're gonna come out smoking, man. It's gonna be a smoke show with that fight.
That's awesome. Do you want to get one more event before the end of the year?
Yeah, I think we have one in December, but and then possibly November if we can squeeze one in too. We have one set up here in Vegas. We're still trying to work out the kinks at Resorts World, and just maybe have a fight or two a year up, there. But it's talent, man. These guys, I'm training in the gym, so I know these guys want fights, and it's like that all over the country, and 6 different states where I go and train at some time when I'm on my work meetings and stuff like that. I'll pop at guys' gym and get a chance to train. But the same question, it's like, hey man, what can I get on that card? People are trying, guys trying to fight.
Yeah, no, for sure, 100%. I mean, what would be the perfect amount of events per year for you?
I would love to have it one every 3 to 4 weeks. If I had it my way, like to push everything forward, and I would every 3 or 4 weeks I'll be cranking them out, and there's more than enough fighters. There's more than enough want for it, and every show we've sold out and turned away hundreds of people at the door. At some point we're probably going to have to even go to a big venue.
Well, that's awesome to hear, man. That's awesome that you're trying to, pump these events out and get fighters fights, man. That's that was one of the biggest things that everyone loved Dana White for doing, man, because these guys need to feed their families, and you want to fight.
Yep, absolutely.
So the NFL's back. How do you feel about the season so far?
Look, man. I said this before the season. Obviously, I'm going to be pro Chargers. Those are my guys and whatnot. But I always thought that they were good. People just wasn't paying attention to them. But if you look at that AFC division in general, it's wide open. It's probably the most wide open. Like a year or two ago, you're going to say, oh, you know what, the Chiefs are probably going to come out on top, of possibly the Bills. But now you got a legitimate 5 or 6 teams that can get to the AFC Championship game and then possibly the Super Bowl. And it's in a way, it's kind of like that on in the NFC too. I mean, I know Arizona's undefeated, but you still got Tampa Bay, you still got the Rams, the Cowboys are flying right now. So I think this is the first time in some years that we've seen it this wide open, where you can't say, you know what, okay, cool, you're gonna have Kansas City and Tampa Bay back running it back again. Like, you can't say that this year because there's so many good teams.
What teams are looking the best to you, and which ones have kind of let you down?
Well, Kansas City is probably the biggest letdown so far, I would say. I think they're struggling to find an identity to stop the run, and they got very pass happy, and we watched even Patrick Mahomes make some critical mistakes this year, unlike him. They're probably the biggest letdown. The biggest surprise has to be the Cardinals. I don't think anybody's seen the Cardinals being undefeated right now, playing the way that they're playing. I mean, on both sides of the ball. I mean, we're talking about what they do on the offensive side of the ball with Kyler Murray and whatnot, but their defense, the Chandler Jones, the JJ, I mean, these guys they're getting after people up front, and that's not being talked about enough.
When with Kyler Murray, when he got drafted in the NFL, what were your thoughts on him? Because that dude's he's small, but I mean he's a killer.
No, for sure, and even even with him, my biggest fear was the size, right? And especially coming in last year where the team wasn't all that great. And it wasn't blocking for me. He was taking some hits because he's a super freak athlete as far as speed and when he's throwing off his back leg 50, 60 yards, and just, doing things like running around the field. You can't catch him. But at some point in time, you take enough hits, those hits will take a toll. I mean, look at RG3. RG3 is one of the best athletes in the game. And, he had enough hits, he got injured and just never really fully recovered from that. So that was always my worry with him. But if he's not getting hit, it's pretty hard to stop him, man, because he throws the ball like a bigger guy.
The Chargers, man, Justin Herbert, that guy is. I mean,
one thing about Justin Herbert, he hasn't even scratched the surface yet, like of what he can do. And he's been playing so well. It's like, this last game against the Ravens, it was just uncharacteristic for him to have that type of game. And the whole team played bad. It wasn't just him. And they had guys, Mike Williams hurt, and two or three different defensive starters who were down, who wasn't playing. So it was a banged up team. But Justin Herbert's still kind of coming into his own, like being a team leader, being more vocal, and like we haven't even really seen what he's capable of doing, because this dude, I mean, you watch him, you see him in person, he's 6'6", 6'7". He walks into a room, you're like, holy hell, this dude is huge. And he runs like a guy that's much smaller, being capable of being elusive and still throwing the ball on a run. So we haven't even really seen what Justin Herbert can do.
When he was getting drafted, were you buying into the criticism of like he's not a team leader, he doesn't talk enough, like he's kind of antisocial? Like, were you kind of listening to that, or was that just like it's kind of just fucking weird?
No, it's just when you got guys coming in, very very seldom do you come in and you're vocal, because you got vets there, you got coaching staff, you're trying to figure everything out, you're trying to figure everybody out, and what's okay for to me to do. So you want to be a great leader, but you don't want to come in there and start controlling everything, moving. You want to give other guys shine. So it's a filling out process you got to go through in order to find out like who you are. And then once you settle in, what he's doing now, he's like, okay, cool. I can get on this person for dropping the ball. I can, get to this offensive lineman, miss a block. I can get on him, right? So you're trying to fill everything out, and he's coming to his own right now.
I just had a couple more NFL questions for you. I'm a Steelers fan. Tell me what's wrong.
It's time for Ben. It's
Ugh.
it really is. You know what? And he had a great run, man. He had a great run, but you can see it now. There's no way he plays after this year, right? There's just no way. I think that he wanted to exhaust his playing career to the fullest before he's completely done. But your body and will tell you, right? Your performance will tell you when it's time to hang it up. No matter what your mental. We always say that the players are the last one to know when it's their time. Because your mentality is, I can do this forever. Your body will tell you, say, you know what, it's time to hang it up.
Breaks my heart. And then who are your like favorite linebackers? Who do you think are like the best? Give me like 3, 4, 5 names that really are just.
My number one, I would say Khalil Mack. He's my favorite player to watch because probably he reminds me a lot of myself, built wise, and his tenacity, how relentless he is. I would say him one. I still love watching Vaughn. Hopefully, I had an injury last night. Hopefully he's okay. I don't know if they came out with the diagnosis yet or anything. Joey Bosa is another one. His brother Nick Bosa, with Chandler Jones. And then, interior wise, I can watch Aaron Donald all day long. I can watch his film, watch him play. And I only have to watch the game. I could just then watch Aaron Donald because what he's doing at that interior position is remarkable. People don't understand how hard that really is to be that dominant from that position.
is just a fucking freak. Like he's different. He's just different.
Yeah. No, he's just different, man. And you get an Aaron Donald every 10 to 15 years, right? They don't come around. You get those freakish athletes like that. You might have another guy 10 years from now to pop up like, man, oh, he reminds me of Aaron Donald. So you only get those type of players come around every 10 to 15 years.
So that kind of goes into, if you could pick three NFL players, past or present, who you think could seamlessly transition into fighting, who would it be?
Um, I think Khalil Mack, if he ever really, because he has that build and he's big, strong, athletic, powerful, got those big legs, really built like Francis. If you look at them, they're built very similar. Um, I think that Patrick Willis, I know he was training a little bit. I think he could have really did some damage if he decided to cross over. Um, Man, I don't know. I'm just a lot of these long rangy guys too. If you think about like a Jason Taylor back then, being 6'6", 230 pounds. John Jones, I think is about the same size, 6'6", 230 or somewhere around there. So you got maybe a similar build there. So yeah, man. I look, if the money was in the sport a long time ago, you would have had guys jumping ship for the NFL fighting a long time ago. The money just wasn't there. Fortunately, it is getting there. Where if a guy wanted to go try his hand in combat sports, MMA especially, and he has a name behind him, he can get a six-figure paycheck, for a fight. And that's where when I came out and I retired, that wasn't there. The money that I was asking in 2013 and 14 to fight, everybody was like, oh my God, first MMA fight, we're gonna pay you. Yeah. You got somebody it's already a built-in presence. And they can throw down. The people want to see fights, so you pay it.
I guess that's a perfect kind of question, and I would love to have pick your brain about it. But like when people are complaining about fighter pay, right, and they're comparing it to the NFL, um, I mean, can you kind of just put some insight into it? Like, it's not possible for MMA fighters to be paid as much as the NFL. Is it because just the sport is so new? It's like sponsored with the NFL. Like, what is it?
It's new. It's new. And then what people also have to understand is that it's getting there, right? NFL players wasn't getting paid NBA contracts until just recently, up into these years, where a Patrick Mahomes got a $500 million contract, right? Dak Prescott making 35 a year. That didn't happen 10 years ago. Nobody got that kind of money. And so now everything is getting better. The fighter pay will get better. I mean, it's not going to be you can ask anybody that they want to be paid more. They deserve to be paid more. Everybody does. Now, one person you say, you know what? Yeah, I'm getting paid accordingly. No one says that. Now, there could be some better things happening with some insurance and taking care of fighters, because I come from a background where I as a former NFL guy, insurance and all these things are great. So I think that a little bit more of that could be implemented down the road. But to sit around the screen that, fighter pay and this and that, when you have so many fighters, right? You have so many fighters just trying to get fights and will literally do anything to fight for what you're fighting for. Do anything. And so that's one thing that I think every fighter has to keep in mind is that, hey, look, when you make a presence, you got a fan base and people buy your pay-per-views, then yeah, you get paid. But until you get to that point, you got to understand that there's so many fighters that are qualified that want to fight for how many times you fight in a year and how much you're fighting for. And I think that's what Dana's basically saying, like, hey, fight, or you don't fight. I mean, it's there's guys kicking and screaming to try to get on cards, and they want to go and provide for their family.
And I just thought about this. You think with NFL running backs, their shelf life is so short. I mean, some of them 3, 4, 5 years. Do you think they could transition more into fighting, other than like linebackers or receivers or whatever? Do you think NFL running backs could transition?
I think the linebackers number one, defensive backs are number two, because they're so used to going backward side. They're so agile, right? A lot with wide receivers and stuff, they're moving forward. They're not really moving back. The cornerbacks are your most athletic position on the field. And then behind that is an outside linebacker who can pass rush and drop into coverage. So those are your two most two most athletic positions on the field. The third, yeah, it would be the running back position.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. So Lights Out Extreme Fighting 6 returns October 30th. And you can see it on Fubo TV. Shawne, you have the last word. Why should people watch this card? And if you have any sponsors, the floor is yours.
This is our biggest one yet. 3 title defenses. This place is going to be going crazy. If you can't get there, watch it live on Fubo Sports. I think it comes on at 5:30 Pacific. Also, big shout out and thank you to Family First Life for being a title sponsor for this fight. I'm also with the company as well with Family First Life, and they came in and great partners of ours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shawne.
Thank you. Appreciate it.